You looking for me, you can find me at the barbershop. Pulling up to get a cut, bumping through the parking lot. I keep it clean, Rico's where I'm running to. If you in the city, then you probably gonna be coming to. Gang getting down, Red's getting down, Nick getting down, Ron getting down, just to name a few. Everybody blade on point. You trying to get fresh, I'm telling you this the joint. Hands down, top shop up in this vicinity. Promises age 9, LaRon been getting me. Temper on the side, I'm trying to grow out the waves.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the K.O.S. Barber Club podcast, where we discuss the collection of wisdom on the science of everything in life. And we do so by interviewing our guests and seeing where they obtained a self-awareness and how they constructed a self-concept to get to where they are today. And with me today, I got a human AI that makes beats from the mind, soul, spirit. 305BeatBox.
What it do, Gene, man? I appreciate you having me here, man. What's up, everybody?
Of course, man. And like I said, man, I talk about the collection of wisdom, right? So like we were at the Mayday show.
Yes.
And spontaneously I ran into you in the bar.
Right.
And then I'm thinking like, I know this guy from somewhere. That's why when you're like, yo, 305 people, I was like, I knew it was you. I think I said something like, oh, I thought you were just trying to look like him.
No, shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
Because I was like, yo. But yeah, man, cheers to you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you having me here, man. And great spot, man. Great location.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. You know, I always preach artist fellowship.
Yes, indeed.
And I've been seeing your name pop up a lot. So I know you're making moves. So I'm like, yo, man, if I could help out in any way possible.
Yes, sir.
So I offered, you know, if you wanted to come on, and we're here now.
Thank you for that, man.
Forever grateful, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, it's both ways, man. Likewise, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Awesome.
Massive salute to the K.O.S. Barbershop, bro.
Salute.
Salute.
I know you're old school because you made me buy a canned beer.
Vite.
I was like, okay, that's different.
You know why? Specifically why I said cans? Because my uncles, they have boats. So when you go out to the sandbars, it's better to bring canned than having glass bottles of beer. And
so you got accustomed to this.
That, and because it brings more weight on the boat. You know what I mean? So you're already bringing a cooler full of ice and meat and chips and ham and fruits and beer galore, you know, and water gets heavy itself. So when you're done with it, when you're, you know, trash, you don't have bags of freaking glass there, you know. It's like corta, whatever. So it's just easier to have.
It's efficient.
Yeah, man.
All right, so like, let's start off. Like, what's your first conscious thought as a kid?
Man.
Like the first thing that you pops to mind. Like I remember that.
Damn, that's now you got me thinking here, man.
There ain't no right or wrong. It's just
I
as
gotta
far
think.
as into the mind that you could travel.
As far as, I mean, I can go. My mom gets surprised when I bring up certain things from when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and I can go back as when my dad had his Camaro. He had a T-top Camaro.
Okay.
Dope as, can I curse here?
Yeah.
Yeah, dope as fuck. It was red, and he had a little mini TV. It was one of those TV radios, but they were like the long ones, but they were narrow and shit, like little cubes, like rectangle cubes, you know,
And
with the antenna.
you were at all like, oh.
Yeah. I remember my dad putting that. I was probably like about 3 or 4 years old.
And where was this at?
Right off of 152, and this was in West Kendall, formerly called West Kendall now, but it was Kendall. 152 and, Sunset and 152nd Avenue.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you
right
grew
there.
up in that area.
A little over, I was born in Hialeah and then lived there for a few years and then raised in Kendall.
So you moved on up to Kendall.
Yeah, we moved on up.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
So that was a memory of yours. From there, obviously school, right?
School, yeah.
So in school, how did you feel? Like, did you feel comfortable in school? Did you feel uncomfortable in school?
I hated school, man.
I mean,
I felt like I didn't need it.
I felt like that at high school.
A lot of us did that.
Yeah.
Felt like that, you know?
I enjoyed it because of the camaraderie.
Right.
With friends and playing sports and art, specifically art. Because, you know, my moms didn't have bread to buy paints or none of that. And in school, we had all of that.
So you had, right, exactly.
So that helped me with awareness because I'm like, damn, I'm good at this. So I kept working with art.
Makes sense.
And doing
Yeah.
What part of, like, your from 3 years old conscious thought to, like, let's say middle school, where did you really start, like, a self-concept after you've been aware?
Like with the beatboxing or?
Just in life, hip-hop or, like, construction of self, you know, like knowledge of self.
I don't know. That's just kind of hard to say. When I started building that, Shit, man. Hold on. You're gonna edit that part, right? When I take long to answer.
We're not gonna edit it. We're going straight forward.
right, going
But
into
we're not
it.
trying to search for the answer.
Yeah,
We're trying to
yeah.
respond spontaneously because that's the reality of it, right? So like, there is no right or wrong
I think
answer.
what it was for me when music started coming in, because my uncles, you know, one of my uncles was a DJ back in the day. He used to throw a lot of parties in the 70s, 80s, and all that. And then my other uncles, you know, they were local into Miami, deep into Miami, the scene, the graffiti scene, and he had a 1987 Corolla, I want to say. It was a 2-door coupe Corolla, bad as shit, low rider, and he was bumping Beastie Boys back in those days, you know? So I think that, and he used to pick me up from elementary school. So,
You used to love that.
oh, I enjoyed that.
How did
And
that make you feel?
felt great, man.
Did you know he was coming?
No, I didn't. So it would be random, right? When I knew I was going to be picked up from like first grade or kindergarten, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Knowing that he was picking me up, I didn't know. It's just ended up in his car, you know? It's just now to think about it, I'm 43, so going back now is kind of vague, you know, certain things.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
But yeah, so I remember those days, him and his friends picking me up in his Corolla, and they were with the bass in the car, you know, and the Beastie Boys going on.
So you had somebody like to idolize and look up to.
Right.
And that made you go towards hip hop in a sense.
Yeah, I was already around it, you know. I was already surrounded by hip hop, you could say, or music for that matter.
Okay.
A lot of freestyle music was big back then, you know.
I miss freestyle, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed freestyle, man. It was
That's
positive,
like,
you know.
There was like disco and then freestyle.
Right.
And they were both on the same vibe.
Right. It was just fun, you know, and people dancing, and you know, there was no, you know, I guess most freestyles were, you could say, almost R&B-ish, you know, if you will.
They
like
were R&B, but
yeah.
it wasn't like trying to cry R&B.
Right,
It was more
exactly.
like let's party.
Yeah, let's party about it. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So that you were that day, what, like 10, 11, 12 years old at that age?
Well, with the freestyle stuff,
Yeah,
younger.
and you're
younger.
younger.
Yeah, I was probably younger than that. Maybe. Yeah.
10, 11,
7 to
12-ish?
10, maybe. You know, I want to say.
Nice.
Yeah, if I could remember.
And did you think, okay, I was gonna invest time into this whole beatboxing thing back then?
I've always been interested. So, again, this gift that I have, you know, that was a God-given gift. You know, he blessed me with that gift. I didn't realize exactly what I was doing as a kid.
Okay, you weren't aware yet.
I wasn't aware yet.
Okay.
I was into the percussions. I was into sounds, mimicking sounds. Certain sounds that I would hear that would catch my attention, I would try to mimic it, you know,
Okay.
or try to make fun of it, if you will. You know what I mean? And I say that funnily because I don't even know how to say it, bro. It's just it's in my brain. I'll get it out later on. But anyhow, so yeah, I just try to be that mimic for the sounds, you know,
Okay.
and you know, like Michael Winslow
Correct.
from Police Academy.
Yeah.
So I think
Yo,
I
that's an
remember
old
that.
school. Yeah, that movie was awesome.
Yeah. So I remember those things like that. So it's just being around music, I always wanted to emulate drum sounds, snares, the hi-hats, keep the basics. You know, that's where I really found where I needed to be. So as a 5, 6 years old, you would just make sounds.
Yeah.
By 10, 11, that's when I really was putting together the drum patterns.
Okay,
yeah.
so you were playing around with it at first just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize, damn, I'm good at this?
I think more in middle school.
Okay, so you were a kid just playing
Yeah.
around with it.
I was playing around with it in 6th grade, fifth, 6th grade, más o menos. When kids, you know, were trying to emulate hip hop. You know, we had the old school hip hop back in the day. And Power 96 used to play really good hip hop back then. You know,
they were
no, it
allowed.
was more like when they were allowed 99 Jams, and I used to listen to 96.1, which was the underground radio station
Yes,
where
sir.
DJ Khaled came out
Yes,
of.
sir.
I used to listen to the pirate stations back then, and they would play a lot of Jamaican music. You know, and I loved the whole Jamaican vibe.
Yeah, he did that mix. Khaled always did that.
Super fire, bro.
It's dope.
Love
Like
the
his
culture.
story, once you find out how he did it, that he would actually go
Yeah.
to Jamaica and
Yeah.
record that was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were young, we're like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? We didn't have.
I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Especially at the parties. Oh, what?
Yep.
Girls loved it too, so everybody's having a good
Everybody's
time.
having a good time. So yeah. Around 5th or 6th grade is when I was really showing it off in school. I got comfortable with it. People caught on. The kids that always wanted to emulate to be MCs, rappers. You know, oh man, you're beatboxing. You know.
Yeah.
And I didn't know at this point, you know, about Dougie Fresh. I didn't know about Rozelle. I
Really?
didn't know about I don't even think about that yet. I want to say I probably did, but didn't about Fat Boys.
Okay.
So I might have known
You
Fat
never
Boys.
saw that movie, the Fat Boys?
No,
movie?
I never saw it.
It's
No.
a good movie.
Never saw it. So I need to catch up on some of my history, if you will. So forgive me, everybody. So
So you started off just pretty much doing it yourself in in the lunchroom with friends and stuff like
Friends, yeah.
that. But never were aware that you had this talent. You were just kind of like
It was just natural.
trying to mimic sounds.
Well, when I was younger, yes. And then 11, 12, that's when it really started coming in. 13 years old with the beatboxing, actually making, putting it together, right? Just putting it together and making a rhythm out of it.
Nice. So when in school, like let's go to high school or middle school. I don't know when you started helping the ciphers.
More heavier was in 8th, maybe in, 8th grade to 10th grade, more or less, yeah. Going into high school, it got better because now we were able to drive. We were able to be out longer. We were able to go to parties, right? You see everybody breakdancing. You know, you see the graphers out there. The culture was there. It was thick in Miami, man. And
it was, but it was depending on where, like, there was little pockets. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't in those pockets, you were.
I'll tell you, hip hop was very heavy in Kendall, for sure. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but I mean, look who came out of there. The whole Crazy Hood team.
Right.
Shoddy,
Money Mowgli's.
They all came out of Kendall, and I was like, oh, wow. But I'm from the beach, so I was pretty much in the studio with like First Platoon and them. You know what I'm saying? Louis Knuckles. I was in the studio with them, and I was in that vibe.
That's dope.
You feel me? Because we didn't have no car to go to Kendall. The only time we went to Kendall was when a Craze party, when he would have it in the La Finca outside.
Right.
That's when we would go.
Over there in at Cron, Los Ranchos. Los Rancheros.
That's when we would go up to Kendall. Other than that, not really.
The ranches, man. The parties out there were wild, man.
Wild.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, so you were aware that you had a talent, and then in middle school you started getting the ciphers, traveling, hip-hop culture, then you got a concept. Like, yo, I beatbox. So
I don't mean to cut you off, but I didn't go out there, yo, I beat like that. You know, I was more just doing it and then see if people reacted to it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how did you come about, like, presenting
just doing it, you know, like
you just started
like having a conversation right now. So beatboxing is like words for me, just in beats, you know.
So how did you practice that?
Just listening to certain music, you know what I mean?
But but I'm sure there's a technique to it.
There's like a breathing technique. No, I wasn't taught anything. I learned everything on my own.
How?
Like just trying it, you know, just doing it, just trying this if that worked, trying that if that worked, like you know, just messing with it.
And then you would just start stacking it.
Yeah, start stacking it and just trying to emulate what you would hear from, you know, who can I say? Who can I use for example? You know, man.
Anyone.
It's pretty much any old school hip hop stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Tribe Called Quest. You know what I mean? You hear their beats. You know, you hear Busta's beats. You know, and you want to emulate those hi hats, those specific hi hats. You know.
So what's one of your favorite Busta Rhymes beat that you like to spit?
I can't do covers. I really try not to do covers. I don't.
Just the sound.
Yeah, I like to be more original. You know what I mean?
But freestyle.
Freestyle.
I like that. See, you're self-aware.
Yeah, I'm more original. I don't like to do covers. I don't like to copy. Like if I hear something, I'll try to get a pattern, right? But I'm not gonna try to copy that same sound. You follow what I'm saying?
What makes this so amazing about you is that I asked you, how did you do it? And you're like, I don't know. I just went with it. Whatever sounded. So you were aware that, okay, I don't have a technique. I don't have a style. I'm just going to feel.
Yeah, feel. It was more, in the soul is what I felt was what was in my heart, what I was feeling, and whatever the universe was giving me.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm so glad you said that because that's what I always tell people. The universe never makes mistakes.
Right.
Good or bad. But if you stay righteous and follow the line and do as you have to for you and your loved ones, you're straight.
And the funny thing is about that, you know, when you're at that age, at such a young age, you don't realize that that's what it is that's giving you that. You know, the universe or God or something's giving you something.
Till this day, nobody believes in the source or the creator. Yeah. And if they do, I believe that is misinformation throughout. Yeah. Not just one specific place. And that's why it's important to have knowledge of self, intuition.
Right.
So it's amazing that you said that because that's the real to me.
Yeah.
Because I always identify, like, people are like, how did you learn that? And I was like, dude, because when I was a kid, I would steal because I didn't have money. And I wanted that. And I wanted the ice cream. And I would have it, and I would feel like shit.
That guilty conscience,
Dude, I would be like, yo, I don't feel good.
Right.
But I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And then once the work ethic started coming into play, and then I started having physical money, I started feeling how I felt to purchase fairly, and I felt great.
Right.
So that's when I was like, okay, that's bad. This is good. So then I started feeling bad when bad things would happen, but you're a kid. You can't identify it really.
Right,
but
you can't, yeah.
The intuition.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm trying to push on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Gotcha.
once you're aware of things
Aware of it, yeah.
and acknowledge it, you could go any direction and still be good. As far as you get that knowledge yourself.
Yes, sir.
All right, so back to Kendall. You were beatboxing in high school.
Yes, sir.
Take us there.
Oh, man, we used to have some parties in the apartments out there in Bentree. Well, not Bentree, Green Tree. I had friends that lived in Royal Green. There was little parties that we would go out there to and just beatbox. You know, everybody was smoking bud. You know, Crippy was really good back then, or should I say Chronic?
Crippy.
Right? Yeah, remember Crippy?
We never got chronic.
No. But Crip was
Crippy.
it was Crippy. So you know, it was super fire back then. And I did smoke more bud back then. Now I don't smoke now anymore. You know, I quit a few months ago, but it was very minimal for me, anyways. I just can't keep up with the hybrids now. You know what I mean? It's just too much for me.
I was about to say that, man. For people that don't know, Crippy was like the high grade.
Yeah.
And then you had regs. That's it. There was no in between.
Yep. It was one or the other. And
It
that's
was one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I think it was like a $20 difference. And
Monumental, yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it, pretty much. And
Yeah.
That's awesome that you brought that up because that brought back memories. Oh, wow.
And when you got regs, you knew you got regs. When somebody was passing around a blunt.
And it pops.
And the pop with the seed in there, then you, the pete there.
That, and then they're like, yo, man, that's going to, what is it, mess up your sperm count?
Yeah, the sperm count and those other theories that everybody had.
I used to be like, yo, that's good for me, bro.
Yeah.
I don't need no babies
so
right
funny,
now.
man. The things that we did back in the day.
Right?
Yeah.
And not knowing. Sometimes I ask myself, like, damn, how did we know about certain things? Like for instance, the party. We were talking about the farm party. Like, I remember friends being like, yo, we're going to go to Kendall this weekend. We're going to go to this farm party. I was like, okay. How we found out about it? I don't know.
It just happened.
It was just
The
like
universe
a movie.
aligning everything, and
then
everything
by
just
the-
happened to be.
By the end of the day, Friday of school, everybody knew.
Yeah.
And everybody would go to these parties.
Yeah.
Travel far, dude, because from the beach to Kendall was like 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes.
I shout out my cousin George for that because my cousin, he's my older cousin, and I'm the second oldest out of cousins. And he's about, I want to say 2 or 3 years older than me. And I was kind of like under his wing in those times, you know what I mean? We hung out a lot. I was very heavy with my cousin's side. And he would bring me around with his friends and let me, you know, so I was always legit, you know, the young kid. I was the baby out of the crew, you know what I mean?
Observing and gathering all the knowledge.
Absorbing and observing and analyzing and, you know, getting familiarized with the scene and certain things, you know, and how to maneuver, you know, as I aged, you know, with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and be aware of what's going on, where to be, where not to be, you know. So that salute to my cousin George, man. Yo, you already know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, like my cousin, my uncle, if it wasn't for him, I would have never cut hair.
Word.
He bought me a set of clippers for Christmas.
Nice. Yeah.
And I was like 11, 12 years old, maybe even older, 12, maybe 12, 13.
That's dope.
And that was the best gift I ever got.
I can imagine.
Because from that, you know, I make a living.
Word.
And it's amazing. It's like, wow, like how one little like gift or just somebody's like expression of love could change and alter a
Big time.
situation. That's why I'm a big giver, man. I give.
That's amazing, yeah.
Because sometimes I feel better giving than obtaining.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
and people sometimes, like I had girlfriends before that would get upset at me because I'm buying, you know. You saw when we were getting drinks at the
Yeah,
bar.
we were there, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
what do you want? What do you want? What do you
Yeah,
want? I didn't even know the guy.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what do you want?
want?
And he's like, what? I was like, what do you want, bro?
Yeah, what do you want? Yeah.
It's just the way I am because if I'm having fun, I want everybody to have fun.
Exactly. That's exactly what I live by. That, you know, when I'm financially right, I'm be the first one to be like, hey, I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't even stress. And not even to show off to and be like, hey, look, I'm loaded or I got
No,
money.
that has nothing to
It's
do
more
with
of like when you're with somebody and you can see how genuine people are. You want to give that. You know what I mean?
It's just the energy.
Yeah, it's the energy, man.
It's
You know
just
what I mean?
go with it. Like you ride the energy, harness the energy. Because
How?
I always tell people, exercise wisdom and then harness the energy.
Right.
So if you spread wisdom and love, whatever energy that brings, harness.
Yeah, man.
Because that's the reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm
However, if I'm broke, no, I'm the one that's broke. Not everybody else. It's just me. I'm the one that's tapped out. That's it. You know what I mean? But when I got it, we got it. It's type of
Correct.
thing.
Exactly. And that's a good way. Cheers to that.
Yeah, salud, salud. Let's get it.
I'm already done with this one. I gotta get another one. Yo, we're gonna go fly through these.
Yeah, no,
because-
I'm gonna have to catch up. I'm a slow sipper, man. I was, you know, it's funny because when you were asking me about the drinks and stuff,
Yeah.
I like. I haven't had it in a while, but I like sipping on Macallan's, like scotches.
Oh, I used to have that a long time ago, but bad experiences.
Oh yeah, yeah. It creeps up on you, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So-
I'm a mixer. I like to mix it with some ginger ale.
Oh yeah, the sweetener and all
So
that.
I'll have
yeah.
a beer, Macallan with ginger ale, and then It gets a little crazy.
I'll throw a little cube in it. You know what I mean? That's it. A little ice cube. That's it.
On
Sometimes I like it neat. Yeah, on the rock. I like preferably on the rocks, not too many. You know, to dilute it so much. But yeah, I'm a slow drinker, so that's why like when I drink beer, like most people are like, man, you're taking forever. You're babying that beer. It's just I just like to enjoy it, man. Let me take it as
I just don't want it to get warm.
Well, no, that too. Yeah, that's what everybody says. Yo,
Because when I drink warm beer, I feel like a monk back in the medieval times.
That's funny, man.
But high school, okay, so you started with the self-concept. Everybody knew pretty much because you went to parties and you showed them what you got.
Yeah.
When was it that you were really like ahead of the game?
Like I got to do something with this type of thing?
Yeah, because other than you, I knew a couple people that beatbox, but not to your level.
Yeah, like, you know, even in our time back then, you know, in high school time, there were people out there that they said, and I remember a bunch of friends that had my friends of their friends be like, yo, my friend beatboxes también, let's get them together to battle and this and that.
That's dope.
And let's do a rap battle, but it's going to be a beatbox battle too, and we would do it, right? And yo, this guy's mad raw, Not me. They're talking about the other person. And then, not for nothing, you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here or anything like
speaking
that.
the truth. Speaking the truth.
But we would show up to the battles, you know, and so they'd have their MC battles, and then they would throw me in there with against the other dude, a beatbox, and then, we flip the coin, and most of the times I would win. I'll be like, all right, you go first, right? And then just to see what they got, because they wouldn't.
Why would you let him go first?
Because I wanted to see what they got. You know, you got to see what you're working with here. You know, you're not
gonna. You gotta see what clip you gotta bring out.
Yeah, exactly. I got to see if I had to go technical, if I had to keep it easy, you know, what have you.
Okay.
So it was amazing. And then when you hear them going, I'm like, okay, I got you now, bro. He just started beatboxing, so it just sounds more like K.O.S at this point, you know.
K.O.S, for people that don't know what that is, a fart.
A fart. Yeah.
There you
go. And then I would come in with the, you know, so I would do all that crazy shit.
And then everybody get quiet.
Yeah. Yes. It was fun, but I felt bad because I didn't want to humiliate somebody because it wasn't my mission, you know. But I just wanted to see what they got because, you know, you have a gift, you know. It's not like you're trying to show it off, but you want to feel good about what you got, right?
So you say gift. When did you know about this gift? Because one thing is practicing and trying and observe, but then
because I knew I had it all my childhood era, right?
Yeah.
But then once 11, 12, you know, when I really started putting the rhythm together and, getting the rhythms together, that's when I realized this is something. This is a gift. This is, you know, God gave me this. Because how else am I doing this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because nobody taught you, right?
Nobody taught me this. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have, what did we have? PBS and Channel 7 and, you know, Channel 33.
We had Police Academy.
Police Academy, right? Yeah, you know, but he wasn't, you know, really beatboxing. He was just making sounds, you know, gun sounds and, you know, microphone.
Correct.
You know, whatever. And, but anyhow, yeah, that's when I realized, like, this is something, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, this is something.
So that's when you realized that there was a gift and you had a flow and then you're like, wow, I could extend it even more.
Yeah.
Do you have a pattern that you follow constantly, or you have a beginning and always an end, or do you just let that ride?
I just let it go. To this day, I don't have anything recited. I try to keep it different every time I go on stage or every time you hear me beatbox, you know. I just go with what I feel in that moment.
So intuition,
man. I don't do it like, okay, I remember practicing this bar and let me just do that. You know, just to please the people, or what have you, just to keep it going. Yeah. No. I just do what I feel in the air in that moment, whatever the universe is giving me and how I think what helps me too is if I'm feeling positive, I'm feeling great, I'm going to beatbox dope as fuck. If I'm feeling like shit and I'm negative or sad or something got to me that day, I won't beatbox because I don't want to.
Have you ever lost because of that?
What, lost against somebody?
Yeah.
No, I never beatboxed against anybody like when I'm feeling down or anything like that.
You say no.
I just won't do it.
Self-aware, because you already know.
Yeah, I just won't do it because let's say you bring your friends with you, right? They all meet me today. Oh, yo, beatboxing. But earlier today, something happened to me with my ex or something just got to me and it just brought me down. My energy's down. Right, but I'm trying to be happy here in front of you guys. But then, now I got to do this. It's not that I don't want to. I want to, but I'm not in the right state of mind. So if I give you that bad quality, you know what I'm saying? Then that's that person's gonna remember that bad part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, but let's go to a different realm. What if somebody would offer you money and you don't feel like doing it?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet.
That's the pro levels.
Yeah. Exactly. That's when you gotta really say, you know what? you better put away your feelings real quick, bro, and get this bread. You got to really, now you're really, which I should be practicing that anyways, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause
asked
it could
because that's
happen
what
at
came
any-
to mind. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, if somebody says, yo, here's $100,
I think that would keep me happy, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Money makes everybody happy, bro, right?
isn't that weird?
It's really weird because,
And
you
it's
know,
only paper.
yeah. You know, I was thinking of that today. I was like, damn, what if we all live, let's say we live comfortable, right? We're all making, let's say the average person's making anywhere from 55 to 95,000 a year, right? Okay, income is not the best, but you're surviving. You're able
Correct.
to pay your bills. You're able to have
you could
things. Yeah, you could live. Can take your fantastic
No,
2-week
you
trips,
can't-
you know, whatever.
You can't do nothing. Just
But
live.
let's say we get to the level where you strike the lottery, you make money. Now you have an extra $5 million in your bank account. That feeling that you had in you, like, man, I can't wait to have that kind of money. I can't wait to feel financially free. But then when you get financially free, but then that whole depression and the sadness and everything that you had while you were kind of broke or just making check by check, and when you finally get there, like, and you're still feeling the same way, and you find out, damn, money really didn't make me happy.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm lucky enough to have really high clientele in the sense
Word.
of like people that make millions of dollars. And I talk to them because, you know, knowledge yourself. I'm always obtaining and I have good conversations. And the most popular answer that I get when I was like, yo, man, how does it feel to financially free? He's like, bro, you're never free.
You see?
And I asked him why. And the answer that stuck with me the most is he says, when you think you think that when you get it, you're going to be like, oh, I got it. And
Yeah,
you're
it's a
chill.
relief, yeah.
No, now I got to keep it.
Right, now it's the maintenance.
Now, and because I have so much, I have more responsibility, so it's more pressure.
More pressure.
And because I have more, I could give more. And because I could give more, people depend more.
Now,
So
right.
it becomes even a heavier burden than not having
That's
it.
crazy.
And that's when I was like, wow.
All these obstacles start hitting you, and, you know,
So
more
in
money,
my-
more problems,
So
right?
so in my mind, I'm like, yo, I remember as a kid when I didn't have money, I was happy.
Right,
I mean, I knew I couldn't have things, and that sucked, but it's like,
Yeah.
keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
right.
As long as I could go outside, play, have a good
Right.
time, and enjoy.
As long as you woke up, you know, you're able to
It
wake up.
was fine. So it's funny you said that, man, because money does make the world go around, unfortunately,
Yeah,
but you don't need it
yeah, you don't need it. Yeah,
at all, man. If you live in a society where everybody would like be for each other, help each other, give each other, everybody will be fine. Like, oh, I only go to work because I get paid. Imagine a civilization that every man would work for joy or because they love to do so. Construction workers that love to construct, they construct. Lawyers that like to practice law would just practice law. Doctors that love to save life would just save
right.
lives.
Everybody has what they were designed to do. What
A
they
barber
were,
that loves to cut hair would cut hair.
cut hair. Yeah,
And there wouldn't be no money or exchange of money.
just doing because you loved it.
It'll be
the
like
joy,
a
yeah.
bartering system. And
Right.
everybody would. I think that's how ancient times were. Because if I think of it, I mean, once gold got in the picture, I forgot what book I read that when the Spaniards came to the Americas, they were given gold by the Aztecs and the Incas. They were given, like, here, take it. And of
Right.
course, the capital of the system was already starting to get built over there in Spain and Europe. So they saw gold and they're like, whoa.
Right.
But the Aztecs were like, here, take it. They were more in awe. Guess of what?
What's that?
Mirrors.
Mirrors. Mira eso.
They would show them mirrors and be like, whoa.
That's crazy.
Because back then, the only time you see your reflection is on the water.
Right.
You feel me?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
once they gave them a mirror, they were like, whoa. And they would give them all
What's
the gold
this
they want.
sorcery here?
You see this?
Yeah.
This
Look
is
what I
nuts.
found.
Yo, I was reading that book and I was really like diving into it. I was like, yo, this is a crazy way to think about those encounters.
That's amazing.
Amazing,
That's
right?
intriguing. If
It's
anything.
super intriguing because it makes you think of like what really is valuable.
But that could be too, like even in this modern day that we live in, like when you're a kid, you didn't know what a mirror was, but we're so used to it, right? Like what was our first time when we saw ourselves? Can you remember the first time you ever saw yourself in a mirror? Right? That's tough.
No, but I remember the first time I smelled paint.
Bro.
That was my first.
I'm with you on that
That
one.
was my first and furthest
How old
memory.
were you?
I was like 4 years old.
Okay, I was about the same age.
I remember waking up and being like, "What is that smell?"
Did
I
you
was
have any
bugging.
kind of allergic reaction to it or anything?
No, I just didn't know what it was because I'm
wow.
accustomed to like breathing normal.
Yes.
And I woke up and I was like, "Whoa!" It was strong.
Yeah.
My aunt was getting married. They were gonna do the ceremony in the house, so they were
repainting.
painting the house.
Yeah, that's
And I woke up and I'm like, "What?" So that's my furthest conscious thought memory from back in the days.
so when my mom and dad moved out of Hialeah to West Kendall, to Sunset and 152, where I told you, I remember they bought that house, and we moved into the house, and I remember they were painting in the house. And at this point, I think my brother was probably like a year old. I'm the oldest. I remember they were painting, but I didn't know what paint smelled like. But I remember the smell was in the air.
Weird.
Like an hour of them painting in the house with the doors
like
closed.
First time I smelled weed, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah. And the paint gave me an allergic reaction. It did something to me where it knocked me out from the fumes. It knocked me out. I ended up curling into like a little fetal position on the couch, on the carpet, on the edge of the couch, on the floor, and just passing out.
Dude, so you were high.
Probably high. And my body had broke out in hives and all that. So when my mom saw me, she saw that. She thought I just was asleep. And then I guess I was out too long because I was very hyperactive when I was a kid. I was super. You couldn't stop me. You couldn't.
Did you go up to like the paint can and
no, none of that.
Look inside and kind of sniff all that?
None of that.
No?
All I remember is the smell was in there, and the smell was so strong. And I just remember just getting really tired. And that's a conscious memory that I remember. That stays in my brain to this day. It's permanent. And I remember knocking out. And then when I came to, they were like trying to wake me up, shaking me and all that. And they had to take me to the hospital. And I broke out in like hives and shit.
Wow. So you're allergic to paint to this day? Or?
Not to this day, but the smell. And it's funny because even to this day, I get acid reflux from here and there, depending on what I eat. I'm on my workout trip right now. So like my diets have been super better and it's clearing all that reflux, if you will. And but back then.
Do you think any of that helps you with your beatboxing?
What do you mean, like the reflux?
Yeah.
I think it does because you know how reflux burns your throat?
Well, I don't have it, no.
No? Okay, so like you get like this warm, hot sensation, the acids, they come up.
Like heartburn.
Like heartburn, right.
Oh, yeah, I've had heartburn.
Yeah, all the acids go up and shit. And I think what that does with my throat, it helps me get like a certain tone and texture in a certain beat that I try to do. Like when I try to do like BPM, EDM music, like when I go... And then I come in with the drop. So those little deep effects, I think that triggers that, helps me get that level of texture.
So you see, guys, message when you think something's bad, you could make something positive.
Yeah, not everything. What is it? Some things that are. Oh man, what was that saying?
That's
how can it be bad if it's good? If it's good, it's bad or something. I forgot. Whatever. I messed that up.
It all depends on your foresight and how you see things. Because I always tell people, like, you have faith. And they're like, of course. I'm like, then why you worry so much?
Right.
And they get stuck.
Stuck like chocolate.
They'll be like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, if you have faith and you do good, why are you worried? Oh, because, a lot of this, whatever excuse.
Word.
And then I'm like, yo, if you have faith and you do good, maybe there needs to be this turmoil for you to get to this other side.
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't get to the other side, your turn will come. Just maybe you're being tested. Like, yo, let me take this from you.
We're always being tested.
The universe is like, all right, let me see if
how bad you want it.
How much, or let's see if you're real about all your prayers and whatever. And then some people fold. Some people don't like it. Some people get upset. Some people curse. Like that movie Dracula. You seen the movie Dracula? Bram Stoker's?
Which one?
The one with Keanu Reeves. Back in the days.
I want to say I did, but it's very vague right now. Like I want to say I did, but I can't remember.
Well, the beginning of it just shows Dracula. He was like this amazing soldier, kind of like Achilles. And he goes to war for the church. And then he is in the war, and then they sent false information. Because remember, back in those times, it was like a rider on a horse goes back and tells you what's happening.
Right.
And they believed that he was dead, but he wasn't dead. He was alive. So the woman that was waiting for him, the princess, she ended up killing herself because she was sadness that her love died.
Oh.
So when he came back, he found her dead, and he cursed God, and he said, God, I went to fight for you. I gave, and then this is what you pay me with.
Wow.
And then he curses, and he tells God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to like destroy you.
What?
And that's when the devil snuck in and gave him eternal life.
Oh shit.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that movie.
No.
So when I saw that scene a long time ago, I was like, damn, this is intense.
Yeah, that is intense.
That was like in 99, 2000.
Yeah, that's when movies were good.
I mean, I just finished watching Sinners, man. It's a pretty good movie.
Sinners, I never seen Sinners. No.
It just came out. It's with Michael B. Jordan. And and he's playing like a twin. So the cinematography in that movie is intense, man, because there's scenes that he's in it with his twin. and they pass each other cigarettes or light each other cigarettes, and it's seamlessly. Like, it doesn't seem like CGI or
Right.
it looks perfect. And I'm like, damn, this is
Nice.
dope. And then you would enjoy it because the music, they put like the old school blues jazzy feel with hip hop, and then they even put like Oriental Asian beats.
Oh, nice.
And they mixed it in. There's
Yeah, I
one
like that.
scene that the main character is playing the guitar, and they're like maybe 5 minutes before that scene, he's in the church with his father because his father's a pastor, and his father tells him, he goes, with that music, you're gonna attract the wrong crowd, and you're gonna bring the devil. Damn. So when he's in the club playing, like you see him vibing, and all the spirits of other musicians from other times and places and eras are in there with him.
Look at that.
But they show the people dancing, having a good time, and he's with his eyes closed. But they show different eras and different cultures.
Yeah, I gotta see that now. Yeah.
Dude, the movie's dope.
Yeah, I gotta see that.
That
Sinners,
movie's
you
dope.
said, right?
Sinners.
Yeah, I gotta see that.
Message. Watch that and understand that life is very short.
Message.
They'll understand what I'm talking about when they see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to you, man. So high school, you're already beatboxing.
Yeah.
Everybody knew you were dope. Everybody pretty much considered you one of the best. How did you move forward from there? Because as of late, I've been seeing that you're touching pretty much all the ciphers. You're in all the locations, so you're making moves.
Yeah, it took me a while. From when I was a teenager, I always wanted to find a scene here in Miami where I fit in, if you will. I wanted to fit in somewhere, and it was tough for me. I don't think the timing was right for me to pop out in the scene. Like, I was out here, and I was crossing paths because, my brother H2O, he was doing stuff way back in the days, with the hip-hop stuff and ciphers and battles and all that I wanted to be a part of way in those times, right? Even into the mid-'90s, I was looking for this stuff.
Okay.
And because remember, I was in high school in 95, 96. So with that said, trying to find that scene, I don't think it was there for me yet. Like my timing wasn't for the scene yet. It took 20 plus years to get.
How were you aware that it wasn't your time?
Because it was hard to find something. I kept hearing people, yo, this place over here, this place over here, it's a hip hop night and this and that. But I was so, I was going to I was in car clubs back then, and I used to go to the Grove and South Beach and do the cruising thing, have my hydraulics car. I used to have a Buick Regal with hydraulics.
I miss that.
Yeah, I miss those eras, man. I miss my car with hydraulics, man. That was so much fun, man. But going to all those things, I never really popped into clubs, and I just didn't like the whole club scene. I didn't like being around so many people.
So you're more introvert.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. Yeah, because I just didn't want to be around that many people, and I wanted to be out there, but I just didn't, You
were aware that, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. So I just kept, like my brother H2 always said, that was just me perfecting my craft.
So now you feel comfortable. Now
I feel super comfortable now being out there in the scene. I've been out in the scene now what helped me too was I was never about social media.
Okay.
And I didn't care for the technology to get into, social media, and I didn't know about it, And in 2019 is when I got into social media, when I found out about Instagram, because I had my wife at the time, which is now my ex-wife, she had social media since back in 2011, 2012. I was like, hey, bro, get off the phone. You're always on the phone. You don't need to be on the phone. I'm old school like that. Forget the phone, man.
Yeah, page me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, page me, bro. But and years go by. It's like, man, I missed out on this whole time. I could have been tapped in. And it goes even back to like 2009. I want to say 2008, 2009. When did YouTube come out? Around that time, more or less, I want to say.
Yeah, 2008, 2000. I think 7, 8, and 9.
Let's give it right in that pocket, right,
Yeah.
more or less. But I think around 2009, 2010 is when, I got onto YouTube because I seen the whole YouTube thing. I was like, what is this? And then finding out there's videos about this and how-to things and how to do this and how to fix that and how to, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me. Let's see how many who's beatboxing right now, who's doing what I'm doing. Because at this point, I already knew about Larvel now. I knew about the Fat Boys. I knew about Dougie Fresh. I knew about Scratch from the Roots. I just, Biz Marquee. I knew about these people. And then I started learning about the people in overseas in Europe. In France.
Because they're like maybe 2-3 years behind.
Man, they're behind, but I would say they're far further ahead of us now.
Because they take it more serious.
They take it super serious, and they're keeping what we started here in America with hip hop and all that, they're keeping it they're flourishing over there because there's a lot of dope people coming out of Europe, you know, as far as hip hop acts, beat producers.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that there are a lot of ill beat producers out there in Germany and France and, you know, what's the other one? In Russia as well. There's so many dope people coming, even in Tokyo. Tokyo has the scene right now with the beatboxing over there in Tokyo is massive. Even in India, it's massive. Shout out to the European people out there, man. Y'all are killing it, you know?
Killing it.
And it's respect because they value what we do, you know, and they're taking it to the next level. So going back to the YouTube thing is when I was like, coño, let me type in how to beatbox. You know, I already knew how to do it, but I was like, let me see what comes up in videos. What about beatboxing? And then you start seeing certain people. I was like, damn, I'm not the only one. You know, when I found out about Biz Markie, when I found out, because that's when you know, you got a friend, you know, whatever that Biz Markie did. That's when I found out that he was a beatboxer, you know. Yeah. And then when I found out about Rahzel, you know, and with his albums in the mid '90s when he came out with his Wu-Tang stuff, you know, and his joints, and then that's when I found out about Scratch. So Scratch from the Roots, you know, which I have the honor of being friends with Scratch from the Roots, you know, and friends with Rahzel. I finally met Rahzel a couple of years ago at the Crazy Hood party that they did in Esquina de Abuela. And EFN brought him out. Yeah. And EFN called me. He's like, yo, I got a special guest coming, da-da-da. And then when he told me, he's like, yo, it's Rahzel. I was like, oh, man. He was trying to set it up. Which shout out to EFN and Crazy Hood, man. Official Crazy Hood. I appreciate y'all, brother,
man. Yeah, man. Proud of you guys. You guys are representing hardcore.
Yeah, man. They're heavy, man. And he was trying to get me to do a performance with Rahzel on stage. So that was pretty dope. You know?
Did you do it?
No, we didn't end up doing it because he had his own set. He does his own thing. You know, I don't want to, you know, mess that up. You know, I don't listen. If it happens, it happens. I'm free.
Okay, cool.
But you know, I was just grateful to be in the presence of somebody that mastered it.
Yeah, you admire. That's
doing it and taking it to a level, traveling around the world with it. You know.
You think you're ever gonna get to that level?
I think I want to say I'm ready. I think I'm there. And I just can't wait to travel, you know, and just and share that with people in the audience.
Do they have beatbox competitions?
They got beatbox competitions all over, everywhere.
Are you gonna go and?
I've been trying to go to the ones in New York, you know, with Long Island beatbox battle. Shout out to my brothers in American Beatbox Champs, you know, the Beatbox House, you know. Shout out to Beatbox House. They're all from New York. Shout out to my brother Mark Martin too, man. Mark Martin, man, he's another dope beatboxer. There's a lot of dope beatboxers out here in America.
So what do you say you're trying? What's stopping you?
What do you mean? As far as trying
to go to compete in New York?
No, I don't know if I want to compete though. I think I'm at the age where if I was younger, you know, back in my time when I really wanted to be on the scene and when it just wasn't happening for me, I think I would have done the competition stuff. Okay. You know, now I feel like, I did a competition 6 years ago, and I won that one in Orlando, you know, and I think it was in 2000, right before 2020.
The pandemic?
Yeah, right before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
I went to Orlando. There was a beatbox battle. You know, salute to those brothers over there that they invited me to come out. I think there was like 10 of us, 11 of us or something like that. And I was just going more. I wasn't going to battle. I was just going to beatbox, you know, with everybody. Yeah. Not check it out because they told me they wanted me to be part of the beatbox battle, like a jam. Okay. It's like a jam battle type of thing. But it's more like, I took it more like, I just want to meet the people that are doing this. I want to build with them. I want to grow with them. I don't want to battle you and say, oh, you suck, bro. You know, I didn't go with that energy. I went in there with a different type of energy.
Yeah, like my tribe.
Yeah, man, this is my tribe, right?
Dope.
And I think with having that positive mentality, I think that's why I won. You know, maybe, I don't know. And I didn't even think.
I would say yes.
And I would tell you this: the dudes that were there, they were killing it. Very skilled beatboxers, man. They were coming with the musicality of things, technicality of things.
But you felt like beatboxing that day.
I felt, oh yeah, I definitely, because I was happy to be amongst the people that want to make this noise, right? Face music.
That's dope. Face music. Oh, wow, I like that.
Face music, man.
I like that.
And it was dope, bro. And the brother that I went against, his name is Yusi. Shout out to Yusi. He was a young kid at the time. You know, I think he was like, I don't know, 16 maybe.
Nice.
You know, at this point, I'm like 30-something, 38 years old. I'm 43 now. Yeah, about 48. 38 years old. You know, 37, 30. Anyhow, and I'm like, he was the youngest one there, and he made it to the end with me. and I had to battle him. I already was listening to what he got, and I was like, oh, he's a ill beatboxer. He's from Dominican Republic. Super sick, man. I was like, man, I can't compete with this. I don't even want to compete against you, bro. I just want to have fun. Yeah. So I just kept that mentality and just have fun with it. And when we did our rounds, it was super sick, and I ended up winning, bro. And, and I was like, okay.
Were you nervous at all, maybe?
I was nervous in the beginning because, again, it goes back to I didn't want to battle. I just wanted to have fun with it.
Got it.
But then after I broke the ice there and doing it, yeah, I got super comfortable with it, and it felt like I was meant to be there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
that was like the first time I've ever battled.
And that was already past high school. You're already 30 years old. You got married.
Yeah, married with kids,
What I admire is that you never let go of that passion, man.
No, man. That's something that, and my kids will tell you, man. They know it's second nature to me. It's like having a conversation.
Do they beatbox with you?
My son does. Now,
how does that feel?
Oh, man, that's amazing to see. Okay, here's the thing. I don't pressure anything on my kids. Musically, I let them find their own lane, what they want to listen to musically.
What do they like to listen to?
My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 20. She has an amazing ear. I don't know the artist that she listens to, but it's super amazing what she listens to. Yeah. It's not rock and roll. It's not. I don't know what kind of genre it is, but it's an amazing, music that she listens to. She's very conscious with her music.
That's dope.
Yeah, super dope.
How old is she?
20. She just turned 20. Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
And you started early, huh?
Yeah, I was 22. No, 23. 23 when she was born. Yeah. Nice. I got married at 22 years old.
Nice.
And I felt like I was too old already at that point.
Serious?
I mean? Yeah, I don't know what it was. Because, as a Hispanic, we grow in a Hispanic home. You have to be married by the time you're like 19, 20. You already have to have kids. And I mean, maybe not for everybody.
But I had uncles that were like, Gene, do not get married.
Do not do it.
They're looking at me like, trust me, just hook up with as many girls as possibly can.
And I got uncles like that too, man. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would he tell me that? But it stuck, and then I made mistakes,
Yeah, no, I mean, we all go through it, man. You know what I mean?
But the universe never makes mistakes.
Bro.
So that's why we're sitting here, man.
That's why we're here right now.
305 beatbox. And yeah, man, I've been seeing you, so I get it. I get it. That I'm always looking at the hip hop scene, but I'll be honest, it got a little cookie cutterish. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like the same bands, same venues, same parties.
Yeah,
same
repetitive.
Which was nothing wrong with it because I enjoyed it. I enjoy the Maydays, Artificials. I enjoy the Locos Por Juanas. You know what I'm saying? We're vibing. Every time Garcia would get on the mic, and we would always go and support.
Super dope.
So now I see it's like, oh, now we got a beatboxer. Yeah. Like, where was this guy at this whole time?
Man, and that's the question that you guys asked is the question, man, I wish I was there the whole time. You know,
dude, that would have been amazing.
Yo, just imagine where we could have been. I mean, I'm not saying we could have been any further, but like what we could have created throughout that whole time. What kind of art we could have, because remember, beatboxing is creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
Just like instruments and music, right?
Yes.
You're still creating something from nothing. And so if you get that collaboration with all these people, all these artists that are on that creation mind frame, if you will.
Yeah, you create magic.
The levels that you could take this to.
But again, universe never makes mistakes. Right. If you would have been in those times, maybe we would have not been here right now. Therefore, like right now, Miami hip hop is starting to get noticed because of the Drink Champs podcast and their collaboration with all these other people, and Miami, EFN, Crazy Hood, the whole nine. So now you could go do what you do with the indie parties.
Yeah, man.
That's dope.
Shout out to H2 Owens, man. I met H2 Owens about 4 something years ago. I don't even know how. I ask him this all the time. He has the better answer for it. He knows because H2 Owens, his memory. He has what do they call that? Photographic memory.
Photographic memory.
He just could remember a lot of things like word for word type of thing. And I'm like, damn, I don't remember that. But I can't tell you exactly how I ran into H. But I remember I hit him up somehow online on Instagram. I guess he posted something and it just ended up on my feed.
Okay.
And I saw him like, yo, this is dope, And he didn't tell me exactly what he does or what he was to the scene. He didn't fill me in on that.
Okay.
Which is great because I'm not trying to meet people because of your caliber or your levels. I just want to meet people in just to meet people and build a friendship and let's go up, man.
Yeah.
Be a real human. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love that.
Just be human, bro. Humans being humans, right?
You know when I think that? When you're in an elevator.
Look at that.
I always get in an elevator and I'm like, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah.
Everything. And everybody's like,
like everybody's like, what do we do now?
Like they don't, and then I'm
don't
like,
talk to me.
The whole time I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, why are these people so awkward? Like, Like I just said
Just
hello.
be happy. Yeah.
If I don't say nothing, they feel more comfortable,
Right.
which to me is weird.
It's because all the traumas that, because, you got your weirdos out there. You got your, things.
Dude, somebody says hello to you, bro. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
Back in the days, it would be disrespectful if you pass by a gentleman and you look at him and he just keep walking. He thinks there's an issue.
Okay, I had that mentality of like having that issue of somebody saying hi to me because I didn't like it. However, it's because we're raised in Miami, right? Miami's a little, even though we have our Hispanic side where we're proper, we're raised about etiquette and,
Yes,
being
of course.
respectful all the time, right? But there's still something in Miami that we're just tough, And when about 20 years ago, when the first time I moved up north, where was it? To St. Petersburg, Florida, over there by Pinellas Park area. And
So you left Miami for a time.
oh yeah, I left Miami a couple different
That
times.
explains it. Okay.
Oh, what explains what?
That you weren't in the scene as much.
Well, that too. Since I couldn't find it, I really wasn't trying to get in it. I just started. Life was lifing at the time. I went through a lot of shit.
lifing.
Yeah, I went through a lot of shit. I went through a lot of experiences, and I think everything that I went through in my teenagehood to a young adult molded me to who I am right now. How to be like the way I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Self-awareness, self-concept, and then knowledge of self brings you to the point where you're at today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
So-
that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So going back to moving over there, and not to take too much time on that, but I moved over there, and you walk the neighborhoods there, or you walk into a grocery store, or you walk just anywhere there, people nod their heads at you like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah,
they
they
look at
recognize.
you right in the eye, and they nod their heads to say hello. That was their form of saying hello without saying hello, but they were saying
And
hello.
you were uncomfortable with that.
I was like, "What the hell are you nodding your head at? Like, why are you nodding at me like that?" I thought it was a problem. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You
like
have a problem?
Yeah, like what you want? And like, and not that I was some tough guy or anything like
you
that.
just felt uncomfortable.
It just made me feel a certain way, like why you trying me, bro? I thought that was like a form of disrespect, And-
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't realize that that's the way people out of Miami, when you really get into Florida,
Yeah,
that's
they're
how they
friendlier.
salute you. They're friendlier. I'm not gonna say they're all friendlier, but a good 80% of them they are.
It's their culture.
Yes, their culture. They're friendly. They're nice. Hey, everybody's waving at you, and it's like, why are you waving, bro?
Yeah, like in the Carolinas,
Yeah.
Northern Florida.
You go everywhere, you pull into a neighborhood, and you might have the same car as the neighbor's car, and they think it's the neighbor. Hey, You're like, wait a minute, I'm not trying to
It was
say.
a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, it was a culture shock for me, for sure, 100%.
For me is when I went to Mystic, Connecticut.
Oh wow,
Dude, that is like a fisherman's little port island station city.
right?
Not even a city, town.
Townships,
And
yeah.
I'm walking in there and then everybody is like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I could feel the energy, At this time, I'm older. I could identify. And they're seeing me walking around with all my tats and just there.
Yeah.
I'm lit. Cause
You know what it is? It's because we come with a different swagger.
It could be the swagger
We
or it
have
could just be
swagger,
the
man. Miami-
demeanor. The
The
demeanor.
demeanor of Miamians, we have a swagger, demeanor, yes, heavy demeanor, man. We carry that because I could tell you when I'm in Central Florida, people could pick me out quick, man. I stand out of the whole crowd there.
It's probably the beard.
Yes, very true. Yes,
It could be the beard, bro.
It definitely is deceiving. It's like, oh man, mira este bandolero aquí. Watch out with this guy over here.
This guy's a pirate.
Yeah, he's a pirate, bro. Well, what's gonna jump out of his beard? But yeah,
But that's
yeah.
cool that you're aware of all those things, man. That you say that. I'm like, okay, so because of the fact that you created a self-concept was with you, music, hip-hop, beatbox, music with, what is it? Face
music.
music? I like that.
Yeah, face music.
Face music. You had your own lane and you were waiting for the right time. And it's kind of like when you, remember in elementary school when you did the jumps, and you see the girls just jump in at the right time.
Yeah.
It's like you're jumping in at the right time. And I think it's good for Miami hip-hop because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
When I saw and I heard and I was like, yo, that's dope. Now we got a guy that hip-hops, and especially 305 BeatBox.
You know how amazing it is that I meet and met and know so many people here in the scene right now in the city, and everybody tells me the same thing. Yo, what you're doing is freaking dope.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's amazing. You got a gift, and I'm like,
it's new.
I know it's a gift, but like I still like this is surreal to me right now. Hearing that people tell you that,
Bro, just
you
seep
know,
it all in
and being accepted. Because all I want in the scene is I want to give people respect and I'm earning my respect. I'm not trying to come in and step over toes and nah, I'm gonna earn my respect and give you respect. The the way I am right now is the way I am all the way across the board. I don't change character for nobody.
Exactly. That's what's important.
Yeah, I keep it.
That's what always comes across. So message, keep it legit, keep it formal,
100.
and keep it 100. You
Yeah,
good.
man. Yeah,
You're
man.
good. Doesn't
And
matter where you go.
to hear that from people, man, and saying, yo, this is dope, and this, and being accepted was what really got me, because I thought it was something that wasn't going to be accepted. Because it's such an old
people
school
have doubts.
thing.
Did
Right.
you have fear?
Well, I had a lot of fear, because, again, it goes back to not being accepted. Like, oh, you're just making noise. Nobody's going to fuck with you because you make noise, bro. But then when they hear how good you are, oh, you beatbox, and some people don't know yet until you do it. You know? That's why I don't like doing it, like, off the mic, because the mic gives you that certain tone and texture, right? It gives you more oomph.
Acapella legit is better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can. You know, acapella's dope. But I like to get on the mic and give you that oomph, give you that energy, make you really feel it. Yeah, and then when you hear it, like, oh, shit, I didn't expect that. That's coming out of you. There's times I do it because I do it so good sometimes. And again, I'm not the best, bro. I'm just doing what I do. And
there is no best in nothing.
Right. And I'm still a student to the game at the end of the day. And the way I do it, man, when I do my hi-hats with the snares and the drums, and if I do a certain technique and you start looking at people as I'm doing, I'm watching, looking at people's reactions. I'm just trying to see. And some people think it's just regular music going on.
Have you ever performed in front of people and nobody reacted?
What do you mean?
Like, you're at a party and they're like, yo, beatbox, and you did your thing and everybody's just looking at you?
Oh, no.
No, everybody always reacts?
Everybody reacts. And that's amazing to see. It's like magic, man.
Yeah.
It's like freaking magic. You know, seeing people get excited. Bro, I get goosebumps just talking about, look at this, Mamadi Sando, bro.
That's the difference.
Bro, and times that I think that people are going to be like, bro, get this guy off stage, bro. What is he doing here?
They're just in awe.
And then when you're actually done, you know, there's like, it's like not even that you're a party favor or anything like that, but just to see that magic. Yeah.
Dude, every time I go to a party and if there's somebody beatboxing and they're legit and they have that talent, it's like, oh, wow.
That's different.
It's way different.
It's different.
It's like the first time I heard a scratch, you know, like somebody scratched. Like I was like, whoa, that's dope.
Right.
Even though I had heard it, records in the whole
but
nine.
hearing it in
but
person,
seeing it in
different.
person,
it's a whole different energy.
It's like, yo, man, this is dope.
Yeah.
And that's from a hip hop head from Miami. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yo, this is dope.
Absolutely.
Which is why I brought you here.
Thank you, bro.
Awesome.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, we're almost getting to the end of the interview.
man.
And we always have questions.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer what first comes to mind when I ask the question. And from that, we kind of like help people understand and kind of relate to what we're talking about. And then maybe that would spark the mind, kind of like what Tupac said, that I'm not going to change the world, but I will spark the mind to the person that will. So now, since we have this platform and we're going to speak on certain things, what we say might spark somebody. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually, exactly. I understand.
Okay. So you've seen the movie Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale. Oh, man, that's vague right now for me, man. Yeah,
okay, there's
like
a scene where a little kid asks a gangster, Sonny, he asks him, and remember, he's a gangster, a mobster from back in the days in New York. He asks him, would you rather be loved or feared? What's your take on that?
Man, it's almost like you want both. You know what I mean? Like you want to be loved, but you want to be feared. But
he says that. He goes, you want both, but it's very hard.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's because, you know, I feel like a lot of people fear me more than I want to be loved. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just I've been through a lot in my life, you know.
And love is the answer.
And I never had that love from like family, or at least I thought I didn't. You know what I mean? And friends and certain situations I was always in, I wasn't getting that love. I was more feared, if anything. You know.
So you're accustomed to that.
Yeah, I'm accustomed to people fearing me. You know, and now we're having a longer beard now, it makes it worse, right?
Yeah, the image.
Yeah, it's more intimidating, if you will, but definitely would love the love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knowing or understanding?
Knowing or understanding, damn. Right?
Right.
I think it's better to understand, right?
Dude, is what you think, man. The reason you're here is because you're a person of stature in the sense of like the culture and also in life. You know what I'm saying? You made it to this age.
Yeah.
And I appreciate people that make it to a certain age because I never thought I was going to get to 40.
Yeah, same.
You feel me?
Same.
And I'm over here with two kids chilling.
Absolutely.
On a podcast asking questions.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing, man. Yeah. So understanding, right?
Yeah, I like the knowing fact, right? But it's just you have to understand you know, as you go. I think understanding.
Okay. Wealth or riches?
Wealth, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like
Why is
wealth.
that?
Cause man, it transfers. When I'm gone, it's my family. Now it's the
Generational.
legacy, the generation.
Generational.
Yeah,
Everybody says that. That's awesome.
yeah.
All right. Perception or reality?
Damn. Perception or reality. I'm a realist, so I like reality. You know what I mean?
All right. So if somebody perceives to show you something and you get a perception that's not real, but you believe it's real, how does that make you feel?
If I believe it's real and I know it's real,
No, if you believe it's real, but it's not real, but they gave you a perception of it that is real.
they give me a perception that it's real, but it's not real. But it's not real. Then you feel bamboozled. You feel fooled, right?
So reality, huh?
Reality. Yeah.
Okay. Joy or happiness?
Joy or happiness. I would say joy.
Why is that?
Joy, because you got to find the things that really bring you joy in life, you know, like your kids, you know?
Ooh, okay. With
Yeah.
that joy, you get happiness.
Yeah. And with the joy is like that really, you know what I mean? ¿Cómo se dice?
It's like a peak.
Yeah, it's something different. Because happiness, you can get happiness in a lot of different things, but what really is your joy? Like, what's that passion? And for a lot of people, they think-
Beatboxing.
yeah, right. The beatbox. People get stuck on the materialistic things of the world.
Correct.
You gotta, take a step back and look at the big picture and see what's really there. Your kids, man. I mean, if you have kids.
Correct.
For me, I can't answer that question. If I can't answer this for single people. This is for like people that have kids.
Well, that's what brings you
Yeah.
joy. So that's how you
Right.
can identify
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. The term power of choice.
What does that mean?
What do you, when you hear the term power of choice, what do you think? You think that's true? You think it's fake? You think there is no choice? You think there is no power in choice? You think choice is the power?
I think you have the choice.
So there's power in choice.
Yeah, I think there's power in choice because it reflects on your decisions. You know
The
what
reason
I mean?
I ask that is because a lot of times like I said, I cut hair and I have not interviews, but I have conversations with my clients and they're like, bro, I didn't have a choice. And in my mind, I'm like, you always have a choice.
Always have a choice. Yeah, yeah. Because
So I don't tell them that, but in my
Yeah.
mind. So that's why I'm like, yo, there's power in choice, like either or.
right.
When you say you have none, you're giving up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
power.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I asked, what do you think of power of choice?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you feel the same way I do?
yeah, yeah.
All right. What about the term good problems?
Good problems. I mean, there's always to have good problems. Yeah, like because you have ways to resolve it and solutions, right?
Or things like, I love her too much.
Is that a good problem?
Yeah,
that
because
a bad
sometimes it's a problem because they take advantage of you. You feel me?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what I mean. Like sometimes people have to understand that you have a problem, but it's a good problem. And
good
a lot
problem.
of people stress
Right,
all the time, like, oh man, I gotta go to work. It's like, bro, you have a job.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can't go to this game. Damn, man, I gotta go to my daughter's, I don't know, birthday party. It's
Right.
like, yeah, you know,
Family first, man. Yeah,
whatever it is. All right, and what do you think about the term emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence. I elaborate a little bit, on that.
So, like for instance, how you felt nervous and stuff, but you have, or what you said, that damn, whenever I don't feel like it, I don't want to beatbox. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you're like aware of that emotion.
Right.
So
Like
you're
emotional intelligence. Yeah.
so you because I asked that because I wanted people to understand that in knowledge of self, you have to understand yourself. That's what knowledge is pretty much. So if you have intuitions, if you have feelings, if you have doubts, if you have fears, then you install the power of choice, and then you have a choice to either go here or there. So if you put all these things together, that is emotional intelligence from experiences.
From experiences, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think of that term?
I think it's a good term, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever used emotional intelligence at any time in your life?
I think so, man. I think we do it every day, right? We do it every day.
Message.
Yeah, we do it every day.
All right. Pain versus suffering.
If I'd rather have pain versus suffering, or suffering versus pain, I think pain.
Yeah.
Because pain is momentarily.
It's like joy, right? The
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's momentarily. Suffering is like you're suffering can mean deeper than that, like death. You know what I mean?
True.
You know?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's no right or wrong, man. It's just like diving into your brain, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, the last one. Logic or intuition?
I mean, they're both good.
Yeah.
But I like logic, but I like intuition too, man. Like gut
Depends
feeling.
on the time and the time frame.
Yeah, I think intuition.
Okay.
I don't know. This is tricky, man.
It's tricky, but it makes you think,
Yeah,
correct?
it makes you think, bro.
Because these are the things that I feel that people have to understand, because in an everyday situation, encounters or doubts or fears, you have to think about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always done that. But I started really like obtaining knowledge once I started using the power of choice. Once I started identifying with fear and joy, and okay, this might bring me joy, but I'm gonna hate it tomorrow. You feel me? I'm not gonna be happy. So I kind of like balance things out. So when I ask these questions, it's more to see, okay, where are people at, and if they could relate to your terms of what you describe these things to be.
Word.
You feel me?
Yes.
All right.
Dope.
Yo, 305 Beatbox was in the house. This was amazing. We got to dive into his mind and see how he developed his skill set and how he got to today. And the question that I wanted to know was like, where you been? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been here this whole time. I've been back and forth from Central Florida to here, but I've been here, man. You know, Miami's my home, man. I'm trying to get away from it, but I like coming back. But then I get away, but like, I'm happy I'm here, man. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
The universe doesn't make mistakes,
Oh,
man.
man.
Let everybody know where to find you, your handles, what's coming up next, your parties, anything like that we could all go and show support.
You can find me on Instagram, 305_beatbox. Even if you type 305BeatBox, you'll see my face pop up, a little cartoon of my face. Shout out to Big G for that. You can find me with John Apocalypse 305. If you see the shirt I'm wearing, JA stands for John Apocalypse. That's my crew. You can find me also on YouTube. You could type in GPH 305. That's through Gridlock Production House 305. Shout out to Benny and Will and Legend and Calamity. They're the ones that run GPH, and that's where we did our videos for the beatbox videos with all the MCs that we brought out from the city, such as Agony, Prince Divine, C. Greg, and such. That's pretty much where mainly I'm at in Instagram. Let me see. Yeah, man, you can find me all over there. Just check it out.
What parties are coming up so people know what the parties are?
Oh, man, we got Onyx in the building May 26th, I want to say, 26th or 28th.
Yeah, this will be
the last Saturday, I think it is, of the month. You know, DJ Heron with Addictive Affairs is bringing out
shout
Onyx.
out to Heron. Yo, we got to get you on the podcast.
Addictive Affairs, WVCC Radio 4K Pro. We got Onyx coming out, so make sure you get your tickets through Addictive Affairs, man. Tap in. If you guys were at the KRS show last time, you know how beautiful that was, how we had a sea of people there. We appreciate everybody coming out. And then after that, we're going to go back to our regular schedule with WVCC 4K Pro. In June, we'll be back with another indie party. Keep an eye out on that. Salute to Rest in Heaven to my brother North. Salute H2 Owens. You know, salute DJ 6 Mills, man. Appreciate y'all. Salute Lincoln's Beer Brewery for giving us a home and a platform to provide Miami's dopest hip-hop scene. I'm also going to shout out La Plancha, DJ XS, and Orion, man, because they're also doing their thing, too, man, with their platform with La Plancha, man. Check them out, too, man. Make sure you get with those brothers as well. We got nothing but great talent here in the city, and we just want to put on for everybody, you know? So,
all right. So if you could talk to young 305 Beatbox or any kid that is aspiring to be a beatboxer, what would you tell him right now?
To young 305 Beatbox, I would tell him, you will find your name, because I had a hard time finding a name, what I wanted to be named. My name myself, it was difficult. Just keep going, because you're going to get there. Don't lose patience. Stay patient, because I've always been patient. To a young beatboxer that's trying to get in the scene or trying to make something of it, just keep practicing. The knowledge of what, in your techniques of what you're doing, it doesn't hurt, you know, YouTube, what is it? YouTube University. It doesn't hurt either, because you can find different techniques and styles. Just don't emulate those styles. Don't copy them. Make them your own. You know, always want to be original. I stick to being more original. If you listen to my beats, I don't try to mimic an old school hip hop song. I'll do certain covers just to hype things up, but then I'm strictly original. Excuse me. So stay as original. Be you. Just be you and make the best of it. Stay happy with it, man. Just keep practicing. Practice. There's never a finish line. That's all I can say about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. 305 beatbox in the house.
Thank you.
Remember to harness the energy, exercise wisdom, live, love, and laugh. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.